Hey there, Matt here again with another video. I said I'd show you something more interesting, and today I got something a little more interesting. So, customer from the Dominican Republic, he initially got an adapter from me. However, it is not going to be compatible with the 1960s Mercedes hardware that came with his car, what he's trying to fix, so on and so forth. So what we've kind of discussed is what we're going to do is we're going to change this whole cable setup, and what we're going to do is basically, because he has this weird goofy push plug that he has to have working on the transmission end. However, everything else is normal, but he needs to put this in line. Now if he was local, I'd just do it all here on the bench and hand it to him, but we got to kind of give it in pieces and so on and so forth this way. So I'll kind of describe to you in short form what we're doing here. So he has his adapter like so. This is going to be about 1 foot long. This isn't the scale, by the way. About 1 foot long, so using the connector there, but he needs this metric male paddle on this side, but he's also going to have to machine something on his end. So this whole side here is going to be furnished blank. This will not have a cable, a ferrule crimped onto it at all. And I'm going to leave a lot of extra inner core sticking out, and the tip, he was going to get the tip, but I'm not going to crimp it because he's got to machine and finagle things on his end there. On this side, we are just going to make a 4-foot standard cable, which seems to be what he needs based on the measurements and the discussions we've had. So a simple 7/8 18 on the bottom end and a 5/8 on top with a 104 square tip at the top. So that being said, we will start making the actual big version of the cable now. All right, first things first, we will get this casing all cleaned up. Right now it's all covered in burrs and whatnot, so let's do that. Apologize in advance for the noise. It's really loud. Alright, so like I said, I'm going to have about a foot that way, and this end's going to be furnished completely blank, so he can actually do the machine work. This side's going to have a, well, let's give him a nicer one than that. There you go. 7/8 threaded connection on this side, so he can, like, this is just the housing, so he can actually mount it into his adapter down there. And the opposite end here, so we can have it go into the other adapter as well. And this one will be 104 square as well. And this is going to be 104 square as well. Yeah. Let's just make sure. Yeah. So those are all the tips we need. This side, it's called an extension cable, or extension cable. Yeah, extension cable, because it extends, if that makes any sense. Just drops in like so. And then, like I said, you still have the tip there. Super straightforward. So first things first, get the ferrule on. Like I said before, I always do 2 crimps on it, and like I said, this side is going to be blank. So for this side here, slide it on. Again, sometimes the heat of the grinding wheel likes to make the rubber a little malleable and wants to slide around. So in that case, what I do sometimes, I'm going to need the gloves anyway just to grease the cables. But what I do is I get just a little bit of grease, like so. All I do is just get a little bit on there just to make it slide a little bit. Slide and twist until it bottoms out, and that's that. Other side should, in theory, be okay, but we'll find out. Also, one thing you should always remember when making cables, the orientation of the nut. Make sure it's going to be like this, not like that, because otherwise your threads are backwards. You will only do that mistake once, and then you'll, make sure everything is crimped on appropriately after that. This one's also a little swollen from the heat. A wee bit of grease. You really don't need much. You just need enough so it can slide down. And you want it down about to that point here, so all of this has the casing in it. You don't want it poking out past the flare. Two crimps. So that's the casing done. So what I like to do for the casing is put it in the vise like this. Get my spool down here, run it down. You can see it poking out the bottom end there. Take the tip, crimp the tip on. So like I said, that's about where you want it. You don't really want it sticking out too much, but you don't want it recessed in either. Come on. Now that that's done, I like to make sure it's pulled all the way, kind of thing. Like I said, like I said from the other videos, you know how I kind of do this. I like to cut it like so. The trim piece there in the garbage. And like I said, that little measuring trick there. So there-ish. I always test fit it anyway, just to make sure it's not suddenly, dislodged or moves around or what have you, because I'd be lying if I said it didn't happen before. Always make sure it's yeah, I can live with that. It's also going into an adapter, so I know what kind of tolerance it has, but I'll still trim just a hair off of it. Like so. Run it through one final time. I know that's good. Let's see here. That's good. So I'm going to call that cable there done. Then we need to do the extension cable here. For this, use a little bit of the short scrap. And like I said, I'm going to give them a fair bit of of extra here, just so he has something to work with, because I don't know if he'll need a little bit more or a little bit less, and I'd rather just give him a little more. He's in the Dominican Republic, so any mistakes or errors and whatnot is going to cost a lot of money in shipping and whatnot. We don't want that. So yeah, it is a bit long. I'm not going to cut it. He can cut it, because again, I don't want to suddenly be in a position where I gotta send him more stuff again because I screwed up, I didn't give him enough, so on and so forth. So the only thing left to do with these is grease them. And what I do for that, for these two, I'll just hang them, tilt the camera up here, like so. I'll just hang that out. It's kind of hard doing this with the camera, well, not in the way, but I don't want to like wreck things. So what I got here, a little pump bottle full of grease. Super easy for getting this stuff done. I like to get a nice heavy coating on there. Tilt it up so you can actually see it. You want to run a nice heavy coat in so it coats as best as you can the inner bits of the casing. Always make sure to get the end there. It's gonna be a little greasy there, that's okay. Now for this one, I'm not gonna go all the way down, purely because he needs to have at least some much of a clean area there. This is way too much, and that's okay. That's done. And with the gloves, take them off. You'd be surprised how long it took me to start wearing gloves doing this. When I was doing this as a kid, I would, I would always just reach my hand into a bucket, put it on, and that was that. Now I don't do that. You can only, I don't really like washing my hands 10 times an hour kind of thing. Like your hands just get sore. But yeah, that much on the excess. The tip is going to go in the box, just not attached. Everything there is turning and moving nice. Actually, what we're going to do for this, I 3D printed these little caps just to help keep things like this. Now I can move it all around. The cable won't slide out, so that's good. This one, there's no threading to put on it, so we won't be doing that. And yeah, all that's left now is get this in a box and sent to our friend in the Dominican Republic. So yeah, that's it for this cable. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. As always, like and subscribe, and until the next one, take care.